Coming up on the dirty side of the track this week, dirty side outtake.
You're going to have to wait, and you're going to have to cut this part out. Should I start recording again, or can you cut it out?
Just cut it out. And the underground guys get an email.
Did you see the email? And he was like, no, what? I was like, they asked us if we want to come interview Gunther, and there he was like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, but...
Hey now, welcome to the Dirty Side of the Track, America's leading Formula One podcast. I'm Brian, that's Rob. We have an amazing guest lined up today. We just finished recording and I'm still buzzing. It was so much fun. How are you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm really good. It was a very good chat. And like I will say when I introduce the guest, it's one that we've been chasing down for a while and we've just never been able to make calendars work, and we did it. We finally nailed it and got that done. So the summer break starts with at least some real content before we really start scratching around the bottom of the barrel. So we will do news and social. The video vault is overflowing, and I've actually watched one of the videos this week all the way through, Brian, even though it's a big one.
It is a long one. Yeah.
We've got Cadillac Corner, and then we've got our chat with our guest. Ooh, teasers, although probably the thumbnail and the episode title has already given it away.
Underground Circuit.
Right.
Casey.
Oh, no, Brian ruins it.
She's amazing.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
First, we have to...
Yeah.
I was going to say, sad news, we have to drop down a level. As Paul hinted in his Hungarian review, one of the team members from Aston Martin, affectionately known as Biscuit, had to go home from, I think, Barcelona, not feeling well. Aston dropped the news this week that, unfortunately, he's passed away, Biscuit, a.k.a. Mick Fern. And Paul was obviously, in bits and loved this guy and said that he was kind of the lifeblood of the paddock. And then when you saw the outpouring on social media, that it was from all the other paddock workers, you could see this guy absolutely was kind of one of the fixtures of the paddock. So it said in the Aston Martin statement, he's been 35 years in the paddock, and he'll be greatly missed in and around the paddock, especially his warmth and his sense of humour. So thoughts with everybody, Biscuit's family, and then all those that were lucky enough to call him a friend.
Yeah, sounds like a tremendous person. And it's one of those where the loss is just huge. So just so sorry. Don't know what else to say.
I think all we can do is move on to the next part. I'm sure we'll cover it in a bit more detail when we have Paul on anyway.
Yep.
So I'm sure he'll want to chat about him. Completely changing to maybe people that aren't connected with reality. Right. So, Stefano Domenicali. I now say that on purpose wrong so that you can come in and say it afterwards. It's like the DeCesaris last week. It's he's now claiming that fans don't want to see technical details on TV. They don't need to see battery levels or 3 decimal places because new fans don't care about technicalities. They just want action. That's it. They're also dumb. They just like to see cars overtaking cars. And the in-depth analysis he's done of this is by asking Formula One legend George Lucas for his opinion. And I kind of stopped and I looked at this. I was like, am I reading that right? Because I think George Lucas made Star Wars. I don't remember. I know they had pod racing. But that's about the most racing we saw in Star Wars. Anyway, he said, I had an incredible and interesting discussion with George Lucas on Saturday in Hungary. He gave me an incredible view on how new fans are watching Formula One, because George Lucas is now the appointed representative of all new young fans coming into the sport. All fans.
And said, he was there, by the way, with his wife, Melody Hobson, who also is a big F1 fan, so let's not give her short shrift because she was there too. But anyway.
But she wasn't the one being referenced or spoken to by Stefano here. For the vast majority of people, they just want to see what's happening in track. They're not interested in the angle of throttle or the percentage of brake pressure or how late you can brake to overtake a driver. Yes, they are.
Yes, we are.
We are all quite literally very interested in all of that.
Give us 3 decimal places. Give us battery information. We don't have to use it, and newer fans will figure it out. Just give it to us.
Yeah, we'll decide then if we like it. But the fact that by taking it all away, we've had this outrage on social media going, just bring back 3 decimal places, or where did the battery thing go that you started the season with that now you can't be bothered showing us anymore? It's like...
And George Lucas speaks for all of us? Come on now.
In an F1 race in a galaxy far, far away.
With no information about how much battery is left or what actual times were. it turns out there's a new F1 arcade opening. I've been watching this for a while. All of my friends have been sending it to me because it's not far from my house. It's in Chicago. Now, while I live out in the burbs and going downtown is a royal pain in the arse, as Rob would say, I try to avoid going downtown as much as I can. I will probably go because the F1 arcade is opening Friday, August 14th in Chicago. I can't remember if it used to be the Weber Grill store or restaurant or you don't care, or the ESPN zone, but it was one of those two, I'm fairly confident. And anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. But I will say this, I'll give it a try, but there are other sim racing places that exist.
Nope, stop. Based on what we will play soon, but based on our chat we just had with KC and what they lucked out on by just sending in a communication to the F1 arcade that was opening in Philadelphia, your job is to drop a note in here and say, hey, we're America's leading Formula One podcast and you're opening in my city. What can I do to come along on opening day? And you're going to rock up in Dirty Side merch and get an amazing interview. And I'll be really jealous because I fly home from Chicago a week before it opens.
This is all happening in your mind?
Yes, this is your mission. You've got one mission, which is, look, I set up and had the little community watching F1 in a little pub not far from me. You kept moaning that you didn't have anything going on in your neck of the woods. Well, here you go. F1 Academy is opening. You're going to send an email into their marketing person and say, look at this. We've had Valtteri and Jack Villeneuve. They're quite famous in this sport. And you should invite us along to do something on day one.
Do you think they'll have on the menu there?
I had some porridge.
We'll find out.
Maybe.
They should, if they were smart, they would. Okay, well, everyone wait on bated breath. Hold your breath until I apparently become famous at the F1 arcade. But before that happens, let's open the video vault this week. Rob referenced he watched one of these all the way through, and it is a longie, as I said. And it would be easy to make any of the other two on the podium above it for reasons I could explain, but it's hot girl summertime, so we're going with good vibes, and we're putting the one Rob watched, at the top. So on the third step, before we get there, I broke a rule as well. The 2017 Malaysian Grand Prix race highlights on the F1 channel, 6 minutes. This isn't from this week. For those of you who notice, it's 2026 as we're recording this. 2017 was when that came out. But we got to get ready for the Gulf Air Formula One Bahrain Grand Prix from Malaysia's Sepang circuit just outside the Kuala Lumpur airport. And so until that hashtag event starts, isn't that the name? That's the name. Most of that's the name.
Yeah, no, I'm just, the way you set this up with the fact that the one I watched might not have been worthy top step. All I'm saying is this one is a highlights video from 9 years ago.
For a lot of people who've never watched a race from Sepang.
Yeah, but you've broken the rules and put one that isn't this week. So, okay, that one wouldn't outdo number one. Let's see what you got next.
You're getting the vibes here. Chaos, baby. The second one, on the second step, the weird history of the Formula One safety car from the JakeSimRacing channel, 7 minutes. I like this because it goes through basically the evolution of independent safety cars, why they were used, and then the joint safety car. Why is your hand in the air? Yes, Robert.
I remember when we had enough time and we used to do the blog and we did the history of the F1 safety car. We went through we had a Lamborghini and Did he cover all of those?
He did, and the best part is he has video of it. So it's basically your blog but videofied.
Wow.
And then when he gets into, we have the new safety car, which your blog was too old to know about the new safety car because it just happened last week. I liked it, 7 minutes. And then, yes, the one that I actually thought the educational safety car one, or maybe learning about Sepang, could have been the top step. But instead, Guess the Driver by Team Career. Grill the Grid 26, episode 1. There's 4. I figured this out. The Formula One channel. It's 30 friggin' minutes.
Didn't feel like it.
It did not feel like it.
When I pressed play, I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure I got the staying power for 30 minutes of this."
30 minutes is a movie.
I know. And then when I tapped on it to see how long was left, I was at some 26 minutes. I was like, "Oh wow, okay." Didn't see that. It just went nowhere. This was brilliant.
It is.
This was brilliant, and I won't spoil it because I can't remember the things to reference, but they have this game where everyone's got the flip chart. It's just logos of teams of tracing a career of each driver that's there, and you have to guess them. So it's, they went from this team to that team to that team to that team to that team. Oh, it must be Blur. And it's just funny watching. Some of them are just like F1 nerds, and they're just flipping the pages and going, yep, that's him, that's him, that's him, that's him, next. Like some of them are getting caught up on ridiculous ones. The one that I couldn't believe so many people got stuck on, and
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it, is
No,
a
spoil it, it's
current
fine.
driver,
Yeah.
was Max.
Max,
And
me
how
too. I'm
nobody
like-
guessed who Max was. So somebody went from Toro Rosso to
Red
Red Bull, and then kept saying, and it's a current driver. And they were
And
like,
they don't tell you what team they're on this year. So they were last year on Red Bull, and they drove for Toro Rosso, and that's the proper name for when this driver was there. How's this so hard? No one got it.
Isaac, no, he was there when it was AlphaTauri. This driver was there when it was Toro Rosso. You know, he's there now. He's quite good. Like they're all going. Like even Max, when he looked at it, actually took a second to go, "Oh, me."
It is Max.
Brilliant video. I loved it. I loved
Verstappen.
this.
And there
I
are
loved
4
it.
of these. So that was number 1. Number 2 is apparently the 0 to 99 challenge, episode 2. Episode 3 is the driver puzzle challenge. And they have a great shot in the little teaser here of Charles looking confused. By the way, that is his default Grill the Grid face.
By the way, Charles and Liam are the 2 drivers that use their own name, like they talk about themselves in the third person constantly whenever they get anything wrong.
I didn't notice
everyone else will kind of go, "Oh man, oh no, Charles, and then Liam, like they name themselves every time they get it wrong."
I will watch. I'm not going to have time to go rewatch 30 minutes of a movie. But when they do the next couple, they will
keep
close
an eye out for Charles and Liam. They name check themselves every
and they're
time
going
they
to close
get it
with
wrong.
Name Every World Champion, which, by the way, they did it in reverse a handful of years
Vettel.
ago.
Yeah,
bring
did it in
Seb back.
reverse easy.
He
Yeah,
can do that, no problem. Anyway, that is this week's Video Vault. You guys have some good ones to choose from, even if Rob didn't agree with Hot Girl Summer. All right, it is time to head over to Cadillac Corner. So shall we take a stroll down the street?
We should relocate ourselves from here to there. You'll find out why in a minute.
Cadillac Corner!
Can't tease that much of the news.
It's Cadillac Corner!
This one, I don't know. This one smells a little bit like, really? Would they really do this to a team that's just a fledgling team trying to get themselves together? Allegedly, according to the rumours, Cadillac want all of their workforce to be on US soil and have issued a relocate or you lose your job ultimatum to the workforce. Like, really? So the whole thing you did about setting up a factory near Silverstone and blah, 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 that lasted half a season, and then you were like, yeah, second thoughts. Thanks for doing all of that and helping get this team off the ground, but it's US or out. But,
is there a chance that you're sitting in something that looks like this? And you're really high above the rumor mill?
I think so. I can barely see the rumor mill down there. I'm so high on this rumor, but don't think, because Paul technically doesn't work for Cadillac. He works for Valtteri, but if that does apply to him, then I have a basement pool as a dartboard. We could put a spare bed down there. You can come and live in my basement.
Valtteri can live in my basement, and Paul lives in yours, and we'll be fine. They'll be on U.S. soil, and we're good. But if he takes the basement, you got nowhere to sleep next week. So.
Oh, true. Okay. All right. Well, that's that. So that's the Cadillac Corner news that we found.
Rumor of relocation, but I think
rumor of relocation. We'll have to ask Paul about that one. Right. Okay. That means it is time to talk to the secret guest that isn't secret, because we've already named them a couple of times. We catch up with Casey from Underground Circuit, who we actually met in person in Canada, which is kind of what finally tipped this one into action to happen. So, yeah, take a listen to our chat with Casey.
Box.
Okay, this one's been threatening to happen for quite a while. It took a random meeting at the top of a grandstand in Canada to actually really cement it. But I would just like to say welcome to the dirty side of the track, Casey from Underground Circuit.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited. Very excited.
We're very excited you're here. I got to say this right off the bat before we get to the fastest lap. If people are on Threads and aren't following the Underground Circuit, it is one of my favorite Threads accounts. You guys both, I think, have better content than we do and more content than we do.
Yes.
So you win in both avenues. And so anyway, follow the Underground Circuit for sure, because that's when we met in Montreal. That was that was part of the genesis. So, okay. Casey, I know you're so excited for the fastest lap. The way we do this is we make it as complicated as possible to figure out how much time we have. And so the way we do is we spin a wheel, it tells us the race, and we figure out the fastest lap of that race, and that's how much time we have.
Okay.
All right, here we go. It's so overcomplicated.
So
It's
overcomplicated.
intense. I like it though.
Number 12, the 12th race on the originally scheduled calendar was the
So-
Belgian Grand Prix.
Oh,
Belgian Grand Prix, and last year's fastest lap was a 1 minute 44 set by Kimi. So you've got a bonanza.
I was
You've
saying we
almost
got the
like,
longest lap.
You have got the longest lap, so get ready. Which is good because that means Brian is asking the questions, which means we'll probably get about 2 questions asked anyway. So
Thanks.
So are you ready to take on the fastest lap, Casey?
I am ready. I'm ready to go.
Brian, you ready to ask the questions?
Never, but I'll do my best.
Okay, fastest lap starting in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Casey, what's your favorite F1 track?
Monza.
Who is the best young driver in F1?
Arvid Lindblad.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Favorite restaurant?
Oh, it's a local one to where we live. It's called Pica's Pizza. I'll say that.
Okay, and what about Owen's favorite restaurant?
He would say the absolute same. Pica's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put that on my list. Is it pronounced GIF or GIF?
GIF.
Mario or Luigi?
Mario.
Favorite F1 livery on any car in history?
Oh. Okay, I have 2. Okay, what my least best one is the Ferrari Vegas 2023, the like all red with mostly white. That one.
Love that one.
Yes.
Sleep in or up early?
Oh, I'm an early bird, up early.
Okay. What's your first memory of F1?
Being in Florida and seeing a Red Bull car right before the Miami GP.
Wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Fill in the blank. F1 in America is...
Amazing.
Favorite thing to do on a rainy day?
Honestly, just scroll my phone. I'm a doom scroller.
Doom
Just
scrolling.
relax and do that. Yeah.
I think most people would agree. What is your favorite food, Casey? And it may be related to the restaurant, doesn't have to be.
Oh, my favorite food? I love a baked ziti.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what about your brother's favorite food?
My
10
brother's
seconds.
favorite. I'll say a cheeseburger. That's
Wet
probably wrong,
or
but-
dry race?
Oh, a wet race.
Oh, fascinating. Wet or dry quali?
Oh, wet quali.
And you are done. We are done. Brian, do you know what? I sent over 1 question for Brian to ask on fastest lap, right? And does he do it? No, I thought we'd have a bit of fun that Owen couldn't make it. I said, Brian, ask Casey, what's Owen's most annoying habit?
Oh. Where do I begin? No, I don't know.
No, that's fine. That's fair. Just the fact that you couldn't work out which one was the most annoying tells its own story.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all good.
We're brother and sister. It has to happen, right?
Well, so you are brother and sister. And out of curiosity, how did the podcast get started? But maybe even stepping back for you, and you may have referenced it in Florida, what was kind of like your F1, this is something I want to follow?
Yeah, you're correct. So I was in, I think it was before the first or second Miami GP. I'm not fully remembering. I was down in Fort Lauderdale, Miami area for a bachelorette party weekend, and they had like all the flags were up. There was a show car out for Red Bull, and we were walking down the street, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I knew of F1 because my brother and his college roommates got into it watching Drive to Survive like season 1, and then they were slowly getting into it. So I was like, oh, I know of it, but I had literally no clue. Fast forward a few weeks later, I end up with COVID. I'm working from home. So I was like, let me check this out. Let me watch Drive to Survive. Watch Drive to Survive. My TikTok For You page starts feeding me like edits, highlights, stuff of the race. And I was like, what is this? And I've never looked back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so your brother kind of got into it with Drive to Survive, and then you
Yes.
got the bug, not the COVID one, the F1
Yeah.
one. Seeing the car and then kind of
Yes.
leaning into it. And I love the fact the algorithm served it, because like I got to redo my Instagram algorithm. I'm now getting like the page of things you have to read. I'm like, stop with that. I don't want
No.
Okay. And then I guess out of curiosity, where did the podcast come from both of you and your brother having this fandom for F1 now?
Yeah, so we're under like a bigger umbrella of podcasts. It's called the Underground Sports Network, I think it's correct. Our friend Kyle has like a Philly sports podcast. There's a bunch of other ones like One's about like movies and TV shows. They have a huge one with lacrosse, like the PLL and the NLL. So he saw me posting about it and he was like, "Hey, would you maybe want to like have a podcast where you could talk about?" And at that point, I was still so new to it, so we took it as like the new fan talking about it to hopefully get other people hooked and stuff. So, and at first it was just me. Owen and I always crack up. If you go back and listen to our very first episode, I refer to Owen as my guest. He just never left. He just never left. So yeah, that's how he just saw me posting about it on Twitter and was like, "Hey, would you want to talk about it some more?" And I was like, "Sure." I used to work in social media before I'm now a paralegal. So I was like, yeah, I want to get back into doing stuff with social media and all that stuff. So I was like, this could be a fun.
That's cool.
Okay, so the jump for you was pretty easy because I always think back to when Brian phoned me and said, "You want to start a podcast?" I was like, "What? Who the hell is going to listen to two middle-aged guys whine on about F1?" But unfortunately, it turns out he was right. But anyway, so you start doing it. When did you know right from the beginning, like, because 168 episodes, there's some crazy stat that there's a huge percentage of podcasts that don't make it past episode 10. Actually, episode 5, I think, is it? Because people just do it, can't be bothered, drop it. Did you know this was something you were just going to carry on doing, the two of you, over and over and over, or did it take a while to warm into?
I would say it took a while. My brother and I, we always joke around, we're very close as siblings. Like, we've rarely fought growing up, so it's like easy for us to like just talk about anything. And I think we have shared like interest in things, and obviously we're Philadelphia sports fans, so we easily root for other things. So the fact that F1 was something we both like loved, and then the fact that he's McLaren more, I'm Ferrari more, so we're like, okay, the sibling rivalry could also work there. So it wasn't hard to get into, and just like kind of just took off. And like I said earlier, we haven't looked back. So yeah.
I have to ask a non-F1 question for a second. Rob, hang on. So LeBron coming to the Sixers.
Yeah.
I mean, Jaylen Brown was a great get, and I'm thinking you got a great team you're building. LeBron, how does LeBron work with Joel and Jaylen and some of the young guys? And I'm just curious.
I'm interested to see how it's gonna work. I can see it making sense. I can also see it just being a huge, maybe not a letdown, but like it like imploding from the inside. But it would be a fun time to have the Sixers be fun and exciting again. So I'm ready for it.
I went to school in Philly, and so the Sixer bug. I did. The Sixer bug caught me, and I went to some games. My friends and I got 10 game passes or whatever they're called,
yeah.
Packages when we were in college is all we could afford, and literally sat at the top of the core states or whatever, and in the top row, and loved it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I got to watch. I'm old, so I got to watch AI, and it was tremendous. And Shaq and Jordan, and okay, back to F1.
And any chance of coming back to Formula One and stuff?
I
assume
we could do more Philly stuff in a little bit.
Yeah,
I assume that was bouncy ball you were talking about,
yes.
right? Okay,
Yes.
right. So okay. Before we just drill into a little bit more kind of about favorite things in F1 list, I've got a couple more things on the podcast.
Yeah.
On there, what's the kind of the most crazy thing that's happened that you look back on and go, "Oh my God, how the hell did that end up happening?" It doesn't have to be anything. Oh, go on.
Sorry, no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, as I say, it doesn't have to be anything like grand challenge. Like, we have little favorite moments sometimes that got nothing to do with guests that me and Brian are reminisce about, but just always think like, so that's a big library of episodes. So what's the kind of you look back at and go, that was pretty cool?
I would honestly say, like, we've got to do cool things I don't think we ever really thought we would be able to do, like interview different people and stuff. I honestly say the people that we've ended up being able to meet. Like, now I have like a legit friendship with Tasia Johnson, who's a bigger F1 motorsport creator and stuff. So I feel like, and like Mark Schofield is now someone we talk to all the time. So I feel like that's something that we didn't anticipate, and just being able to be like, walk into this community of people and have like, and like getting to meet you guys, like people, it's the power of the internet, I guess you could say, but
yeah,
it's the friendships and stuff, and like the people we've been able to meet, I would say, is what I think struck us the most.
That's great. I mean, that's one of our things too. Like Rob and I talk about it. And you mentioned Mark. We've had him on. He is just tremendously nice.
I love him.
Yeah, we met when we got lucky enough in Montreal to be in the paddock. We met up with Jamie Price, who had just been on the show,
Yes.
and like Nate Saunders years ago. It's the fact that I don't understand how there's so many nice people in this community who are kind and thoughtful, because
Mm-hmm.
they could easily just say to us, not to you guys, but to us, like, "Oh, you're just two fans. You don't know what you're talking about," and ignore us. But no one's ever done that, which is wild.
Yeah. I would say I totally agree. It's like when you think of like the motorsport world, it's so big, and you're like, these people aren't gonna give a random podcast duo the time of day. But like Owen just interviewed the head of social media for our McLaren for his like Creators Kid series that he's done. Like
That's coan.
he just shot an email. He's like, let me just shoot my shot. So like I think, yeah,
Yes.
it's you would think they'd be like, no, no, but they say yes a lot more than you think they're going to.
Well, and
Uh,
sorry, one more thing, Rob. The thing that Rob and I, because in 21 we did our first episode during Abu Dhabi, there was a sentiment
one.
amongst, yeah, exactly right. Sentiment. We didn't know what we were walking into. A sentiment of some level of gatekeeping about Drive to Survive. But Rob and I both have loved Drive to Survive. Rob's lost a little bit the last couple of years as they over dramify it. I still love it. Like, I binge it, and it's been huge in my life. So when we hear that, we're like, no, there's enough room under
Yeah.
this tent for all fans. And so I love your approach to that, because I completely agree. And the fact when we saw you posting in Montreal and we went running up just to say hi, and it was like so much fun to say hi. That's the community I love being a part of. So anyway,
It was. I was just going to say that. Like, we've been ridiculously fortunate to have some big guests, but some of the most bizarre things were like walking through the paddock and seeing Nate Saunders and waving to him, and then him actually remembering who we were and coming over to chat, and then sitting there in the grandstands looking at your video on social media going, hang on a minute, that's almost the same
That's our
view
view.
of that's the view of the Ferrari garage we've got. And then we like turn around, where are you guys? That was amazing, just to
Yeah.
turn around, walk up 15 flights of stairs or whatever it was and say hi. It was just cool. Okay, so one other thing on the podcast, do you find now, because this is definitely true for us, that you now watch F1 in a completely different way because you know
Oh.
you're going to end up talking about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, I think like when I watched my very first race, I just had it on TV and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Now I have literally my iPad up with live timing, or I'll split the screen on my TV thanks to Apple with the live timing and driver's cam. I'm scrolling on social media. Yeah, I watch it totally different now. Taking notes. Yeah, absolutely.
I am, just to close the last question, I'm a little surprised to give you guys a little extra pub. I know you've had a lot of great guests and folks, but you had Gunther on at the F1
Yeah.
arcade. I almost said Academy. The only A that came to me was F1, but at the arcade in Philly, and that was so cool.
Yeah, that I forget where my brother was. He might have been at, I think we were at work when that email came through. We've been very lucky. When the arcade first got announced it was coming to Philly, we were like, "Oh, we're jumping on this. We have to like talk to someone, see if we could do stuff there." And then when we have a good relationship with them now, but when we got that email, I think I called him. He didn't even read the email yet, and I was like, "Did you see the email?" And he was like, "No, what?" I was like, "They asked us if we want to come interview Gunther," and there he was like, "I'm sorry, what?" Yeah, but he was the nicest to talk to. He, at that point, it was the whole Oscar Lando papaya rules situation going on. So like we openly asked him a question about that, like what would you do if you were at McLaren? And he gave a great answer. He did our fun little we do pints and pit stops as our like kind of like your fastest lap, and he was totally open to doing that as well. So yeah, that was definitely a pinch me moment, like
I love
this
that.
is cool. Yeah.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I just wanted to make sure everyone understood that. Like, I mean, that's an amazing get, and it's a fun thing to check out on YouTube or
Thank
any
you.
of their underground circuit socials.
So then, away from the pod, just going back to the sport itself, if you think about it over the last few years since you've been into it, what's been your like highs and lows? Actually, another question, because you've got the same flag up in the background, or the cap at least, I've got the flag in the background. Why Ferrari? What kind of pulled you into be a Ferrari fan?
Okay, I will say, going back to my TikTok or Instagram For You page, I was getting a lot of Charles highlights, and that's when I was like, "Oh, who is this?" And then I remember watching his episode of Drive to Survive, like season one, where you learn more about his backstory and all that stuff, and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "This kid's an easy person to like root for and be a fan of." And I mean, everyone knows Ferrari. I feel like you
Yeah.
have to, even before I knew what F1 was, I knew about Ferrari in the racing world and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it fell into my lap. But, that's and they are definitely a high and low of being a fan. And I think I always
Yes.
say, not to bring Philly back, I always say being a Ferrari fan and being a Philadelphia sports fan kind of go hand in hand because they gotcha with all the hope in the world, and then they
Yep.
quickly
I
take you down.
I would point to both flags there. The two sports I follow: Ferrari, Arsenal, both red, both highs and lows of sporting disasters and triumphs.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you gotta love
that
it.
no, that's cool. So if you kind of then think about what's been your like favorite, you said Did you say Monza is your favorite track?
Yeah, Monza is definitely I think my number one like on my bucket list where I would want to
Okay.
go. Um Owen last year was in Italy for like 2 weeks and he was taking a train to go somewhere else and they were going right by and I was like, you have to get off. I was like, they didn't because he was with his wife, but I was like, you have to get off. But yeah, Monza, I think just because being a Ferrari fan, I just want to like I would love to experience that atmosphere and if like
Yeah.
a Ferrari driver's on the podium or with the win, I think it would be
Yeah.
unmatched. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's totally true. That's
that's
totally
definitely
true.
my fave.
In terms of favorite drivers, so I guess let me step back. You obviously like Ferrari, but are you a
Yes.
team person or are you a driver person?
I'm
Is it
definitely a
just
team
okay?
I'm definitely a team person. Charles is my favorite driver, though,
Okay.
I would have to say. But if he was to j jump ship, I would still probably be a Ferrari fan, but I
Okay.
also do love Charles. So,
So that works well. I'm
yeah.
also I'm less team, I'm more drivers, and I've always been a Charles fan. And Rob has been giving me infinite grief this year when he had that bad run of form for a couple
Uh,
races. And Rob just kept telling me how he'll never be a world champion and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, Rob, you gotta stop. It's hurting me.
yeah.
And I've been a long time big Lewis fan. So when Lewis
Yes.
joined Ferrari, I looked at Rob. I go, "Does this mean I'm now a Ferrari fan?" Like I
Yes.
wasn't not
Yes.
a Ferrari fan, but now it's like I have to be. So I hear you.
Yep.
It is fun to kind of have these rooting interests, and in a
Hmm.
sport that in America not everybody knows, it's fun to introduce them to it. And I was at a friend's party last night, and I may have been talking about F1 the whole time, and I think people stopped talking to me after a while. So
That's Owen and I.
that's you guys too. That's
Yeah, to the
awesome.
point that our parents now are getting up like Sunday morning and turning the race on at their house, and like my dad's super into it and texting us about different things. So yeah, he's definitely our parents are fully into it
I
now.
love
So
that. That's
yeah.
And
amazing.
actually that's a good segue. That's where I was going to go. Is do you find it? This might be hard to be subjective because both of us we all just talk about F1 until anyone's bored. But I definitely stumble across more people now that actually watch it and know what it is.
Yeah.
Just in the few years that I've been in the States,
Yeah.
like 10 years ago, like basically the origin story of me and Brian was because we actually both found each other that could actually talk about F1 too without each other falling asleep. But now I find I bump into. I don't know. It's because I open my mouth and just talk F1, and then someone hears and comes over and
They're like,
speak and talks to
"Oh."
me, or whether I just force people to talk about it. I don't know. But what's it like in Philly? Is it a good F1 scene?
Yeah, I would say before the arcade came, there was this one like local bar. They would show almost every race in the morning, and I remember we went for the first time and we were blown away at the amount of people that were in there. And I was like, there's this many F1 fans in the city. I had no idea that many F1 fans were in Philly. But yeah, it's definitely I would say it's a I see people wearing merch all the time, like out in the street if I'm out in the city and stuff. So it's definitely there's a
Do,
decent
do you say
crowd here.
something? If you see someone
Oh,
with a Red Bull shirt on, do you go, "Hey, Red Bull"? What do you think about
yeah.
Isaac this season competing with Max, or do you let it go by?
I'm the person that'll like hang back. Owen might if he saw like McLaren or something, he would say like he would definitely like stop and be like, "Oh,
Okay.
hey, what?" But yeah.
So you mentioned the best young driver is Arvid, in your opinion,
Hmm.
who's obviously lighting the world on fire in the Racing Bull. What about Kimi? He's still pretty young, and
Yeah.
he is kind of leading the championship this season. So I'm curious how you put those two side by side.
I I guess I was looking at more like rookie standpoint. Obviously, Arvid's
Sure.
the only rookie on the track, but Kimmy definitely is just like miles ahead, I think. But the future is definitely bright with the young ones we have
Yeah.
on the grid right now. But yeah, I think Kimmy could maybe continue running away with a championship at this point. I do think he could win it. And now with the rumors of Imola and stuff maybe coming back on at the end if he
Capturing
wins
it
in
at home.
Imola,
Yes.
that would be
It's
crazy.
exactly what I said last week. It was like if an Italian wins in Italy, the country will shut down.
Yeah.
I
And isn't Imola his home? Isn't he grew up like 20 minutes away from Imola or something? So I feel like that
think
might
so.
I think it would explode. Arvid though, there's just something about Arvid. I kind of the way I feel about Arvid this year is how I felt about Isaac Hadjar last year.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this with Mark a lot and Owen and I throughout the season. I feel like the bounce back Isaac had after Australia and that whole situation and
Right.
just the rest of his season, I genuinely love that. But yeah, Arvid is just he's special. I don't know that he's got a good racer mind and
Yeah.
skills
He's
on track.
fast. He just seems
Yeah.
He is.
fast. Like there's a
Yeah.
natural speed that he brings, and as he gets better at, like Oscar did over the years, tire
Yeah.
management and race management and all these other things, you got to just think the sky is the limit. Rob and I, 2 years ago at Canada, when we first got the seats you saw us in, we had different ones before. It was right in front of grid box 12, as you know very well. And Isaac was there last year and was setting up, and we kind of liked him. And then he waved in our general direction, and we
That's us.
became
That's us.
huge
At you
fanboys
too.
at this point. Yeah, we cannot stop. But I feel the same about Arvid. I know you guys do a lot in terms of looking at some of the social videos and things people put out, and you
Yeah.
were excited about Grill the Grid, as was I.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do a whole section on our pod called, the Video Vault, because I love these videos. So
Oh, that's fun.
I'm curious, like, who do you think of the younger drivers has the best video game, best social media game out there? Because they're
Ooh.
all young and kind of inherently natural at social media, but who really brings it?
The answer has to be Valtteri.
Yeah, yeah, no, literally, Valtteri is far ahead in that aspect. I don't know if it's Tiffany helping him, but out of the young ones, ooh, I'm trying to think, because like the VCarb social team deserves every award that you could possibly give out. But from what I've seen, I feel like Liam's pretty good on social media, like different things that he's posted.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen stuff with him more, but I feel like Arvid could be someone that maybe comes out of nowhere with the different content.
Yeah.
I like
On
it too.
Liam, I was thinking of this when you were mentioning about Kimi and young drivers. I've actually got kind of two questions for you. This is bad because I always tease Brian for making two-part
Don't do
questions. But this isn't a two-part question. This is actually two distinct questions, Brian. So it's different.
Okay.
First one was, so Kimi, you think he's going to win it? Do you think it's only
Yeah.
reliability that gets in his way?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's going to affect him as much as it's been affecting George, unfortunately, and some weird reason. Put the tinfoil hat on. But yeah, I definitely think it'll just be reliability and maybe every once in a while that gets him.
Yeah. And then the second one, I'm starting to feel now that one of the biggest redemption stories in Formula One is Liam Lawson.
Yes.
He's had one hell of a ride, that kid. He's been taken up to the top team. He was given about 3 minutes to become the next big thing.
Not enough.
Kicked back out again, struggled when he first got back into the racing ball. But this year he's looking quick.
Yes.
And it's noticeable that we've stopped our regular segment of looking at who Liam Lawson crashed into this week.
Oh, who's pissing off on track and why is it
Right.
Checo or Alonso?
It felt like it was weekly, and he always
Yeah,
ran into
it was.
somebody. But it's not anymore.
No, it definitely was. Yeah, no, Liam is turned a big corner, I think. He definitely did not get enough time in Red Bull, but I do think now looking at it, maybe sending him back or maybe they just brought him up too early because the development time in V-Carb was, cut short every other time because he came in for Daniel Ricciardo, then he was sent back out, and he came back in. So I feel like, yeah, but he's definitely made he's like just consistently good. And I will say that about Franco Colapinto, I feel like recently as well has been like
We agree.
underrated, like consistently good every week. He's not the Franco we saw in the Williams. He's definitely totally different.
He's not Crasher Pinto anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and with that though, Casey, so like as you look at the grid, this is something we debate regularly, and Lance is the other one who often we would make fun of. But his car's been so slow, he hasn't gotten in anyone's way this season. So is there a bad driver in the F1 grid at this point? It feels a bad, you're the 22nd best in the world as opposed to, higher than that. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like there's someone who sticks out like a sore thumb anymore and says their seat is hot. Maybe Esty?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would say, but even it's not like Haas has been. I mean, was that the end of last year that Ollie was like comfortably in fourth almost for a good amount of races.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no one that's like Nicholas Latifi, like
Right.
you can rely on to like spin and
Nikita
crash.
Mazepin,
Yeah,
Latifi. You're right. There isn't.
yeah. There's definitely I wouldn't. Everyone seems, and I feel like that's kind of shocking for the new regs and stuff. You would think there may be one person that would be struggling maybe more than others, but there really has not. Now that you said that.
Well, so the question I have for you is, you kind of predicted Kimi, right, for the end of year hoisting the trophy and being the champion. I'm curious, is there something that you think will happen through the rest of the season that most people may not believe? Do you have kind of a wild Casey prediction?
Ooh.
That, whether it's with your head or your heart, that you would toss out there?
Yeah, it can be silly season. It can be anything. Just a big, bold prediction.
Silly season. I do kind of believe the rumors that Alonso is going to go back to Alpine. I just don't know why, but I do believe those. But that's not really crazy. Part of me does believe, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Ferrari fan, I can see the two of them getting closer up, maybe bypassing. I think George is still in third. I can see them both maybe closing in on Kimi and it being like a sort of a closer race than it anticipated, but.
Okay, but now you're getting my hopes up. Are you alluding to a constructor's title for Ferrari here?
I've looked at it and I truly want to believe and I want to have the Delulu. I think Mercedes is just a little too far ahead. But I could see Lewis or Charles maybe getting closer to Kimi. Like, I think they said last week Kimi's like 2.5 races, like has a cushion on points, but there's always a chance that he could be a DNF here or there and that goes away pretty quickly. Now, if Owen was here, I'll give you what Owen would say. He would say Lando's going to come back out. Now he's had his first win of the season. He's going to come back, and it's going to be a close battle.
First win as a champion, and he's unstoppable now.
Yeah.
I did see the thing on Threads that said, now with the new B-Spec car, if Fernando Alonso wins every single race of the season and Kimi DNFs from everything else, there is enough. He can become the first driver in history to overhaul a 238-point deficit or whatever it is.
I think I saw something like that with Alex Albon as well, and I was like, okay, I'll take it.
Well, so I guess the question back to the Ferrari, if they keep performing, are there scarlet rules? The papaya rules, which was everyone gets a chance, and we're going to try to fix things that are unfair. What do they do? Is it the guy they've had forever who they signed through the future in Charles that they would prioritize, or is it the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton who's dreamt about being in Ferrari his whole career? What do they do? What happens if it gets close? Do they is there a number one driver at Ferrari? Question.
I think it'd be the first time in a very long time we have to see them decide who's the number one driver in Ferrari, because I think the last time we were maybe close was 2023, and we know how that ended. But I think it would be. I don't think they'd be as messy as McLaren. I think they would. I think everyone's seen the way McLaren's been handling it like last year and not move in that direction. But yeah, I don't know.
Quick question for you, and maybe this would have been better for Owen, but. Also, do you think papaya rules is a completely made-up thing blown out of all proportion for social media? Because really, at the end of the day, I grew up watching team orders where if there was a number one driver, they got given preference. It didn't have a special name for it. It was just the thing. And then just because I think McLaren found themselves in a position where they had 2 potential number one drivers.
Yeah.
They just did what a lot of teams like that have done in the past, which is wait and see if one of them looks like they're the dominant one, and then you back that one. But while they're both number one, you treat them equally. And then it just went crazy. I don't even think it's a thing.
Yeah, it definitely took on a life of its own and blew up. But I do think they didn't help themselves with that. Like going back to the Hungary win. Yeah. The Hungary race a few years ago where you have them literally guilt tripping Lando over the radio, and I think it was even DC on F1 TV being like, this is awkward. Like, what are we watching? But I don't think they helped themselves with.
I was going to say, I think the thing they did that caused all of this was by giving it a name. Because it was them that came over the radio and went, remember, papaya rules. It was like,
this was the audio you're talking about. It was...
just remember every single Sunday morning meeting we had.
I mean, like, the way they were guilt tripping him was crazy. But
It was. I have a very vivid memory of sitting on my couch and being like uncomfortable because I was like, "This is like, what are they? Are they doing like psychological warfare on Lando right now in the car? What is happening?" Yeah, it was definitely. They definitely did it to themselves by calling the papaya rules, and then it just
Yeah, yeah.
blew up.
And then the internet ran with it and did what the
Yeah.
internet does. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that I think they see it out there in social media. So then it gets inside their heads and it just
Mhm.
snowballs into this thing that was never really there in the first place. But oh
It's never
well.
going away.
So, in terms of visiting circuits, you guys obviously went to Montreal.
Yes.
And I know we talked about this, and I can't remember the answer, so apologies because I was probably having a lot of drinks and freezing cold. But like, was that your guys' first time to an F1 race?
No, so I've been to more than that was my brother's second race. The
Okay.
first ever race we went to was Miami when Lando won.
Oh, wow.
And that was the craziest 24 hours of my life. We have family that live down in Florida, that area. And she happened to text like 2 days before. She's being like, "What is in Miami this weekend F1 wise?" And I was like, "The race?" And she was like, "Oh,
The
like
Hard Rock?
she was like, "Oh, we have family friend, like they gave us free tickets." And I was like, "Why is she telling me this?" And then like the next morning she was like, "Would you guys be able to come down?" She goes, they have tickets they could easily give you. So it was like Thursday. No, Thursday. We left Friday morning at like 6:30, landed in Florida. My aunt picked us up. We took like the train and got to the track right as FP1 was starting. It was
Wow.
we both like went to our boss and we were like, "Listen," because we got the tickets for free and were able to stay at their house. All we had to pay for was our airfare, and we
You gotta
took like
do it.
the
You
cheapest
gotta make
flight.
that
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
And it was maybe the coolest weekend we've ever had. I remember we were pulling up and you could see the Hard Rock like coming up. You could hear the cars. My brother turns to me. He goes, "I'm so happy it's just me and you." Because our aunt and uncle may have come with us the first day. He goes, "Because I think I would be hiding my excitement more if there was other people around." He goes, "Because I'm with you. We both love it. This is our first one. We're freaking out." So yeah, that was and he's obviously a Lando fan. So I have a video of him literally white knuckling like, because we had the GA ticket, so we lived in the Hard Rock all weekend, and I will never say anything bad about GA at Miami. It's the best because you're up and you can see over. So he was like white knuckling the and didn't talk for like the last 20 laps. He was freaking out. But yeah, that was our first race. And then the year after, I was down there in Miami same weekend for my cousin's bachelorette party, and I ditched the one day and just went up on Saturday of the wet sprint race that weekend. And then last year my parents and I went to Montreal. So that was our first time in Montreal. Owen didn't go. And then I sound like I'm bragging. And then last year I ended up in Vegas with Tasia, and that was the coolest weekend I've ever had at a race.
That's so cool. So
Yeah.
that's 5 for you? 5?
Yeah, I've been to Montreal twice, Vegas, and I guess you could count Miami twice. Yeah, 5.
Yeah, Saturday
and then,
sprint race. I'm counting it.
Yeah, and then I'll be at
Awesome.
Coda this year with Tasia again. So I'm very
That is,
excited.
Casey, that is so cool. I look forward. I'm going to listen and tune in for your Coda review because Rob and I both would love to go to Austin.
Yeah,
and see the race, but it's become a bit pricey.
Yes,
and
very.
And for us, Rob's in Connecticut, I'm in Chicago. Like getting to Montreal is easier, believe it or not, than going to Austin. So that's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
I'll always love Montreal though, because we also drive up from Philly, so it's not like the longest drive, and that was the first one with our as a family going as well. So it was like a different atmosphere, and I think that's when my dad literally officially got hooked was last year being in person. He was like, "Oh wait, this is cool. I understand why you like it."
Amazing.
But yeah.
Right. Well, carry on chatting F1 for as long as we could go, but unfortunately the time is going to be upon us. So I'm just going to ask one last question, then maybe see if Brian's got one as well. So you've already said that Kim is going to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who's rounding out? I know they don't have a podium for it, but who's rounding out the WDC podium? Who stands second? Who goes third?
I'm gonna say Lewis second and Charles third. I do think
so
the
you think they're
reliability.
both jumped? Okay.
Yeah, I do
And you
think the
think George
reliability.
is going this way?
Yeah, I do.
Crikey.
I feel bad for George, and it's wild that it's like, sometimes seeing comments from Toto recently. I'm like, Toto. I feel bad for you're making me feel bad for George. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do think he continues to fall, unfortunately.
I don't have any more questions, Your Honor. I just want to highlight the fact that everybody should be following Underground Circuit on Threads, and I wasn't kidding. It's a phenomenal follow. Casey and Owen
Thank
are
you.
great, and check out their pod, of course. Casey, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast. This was amazing.
Thanks so much.
Box.
Thank you, Case. That was brilliant. It was so long coming, and a little bit sad that we couldn't get Owen on as well. But maybe that just gives a chance for the repeat edition. Maybe we'll come on your pod. So, but no, that was brilliant. I really enjoyed that, Brian.
I did too, Casey. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. We could have talked Philly sports for a while there, but Rob was.
Oh my gosh,
He was trying to figure out why we were talking about shooty hoops the whole time.
I forgot. I think on the YouTubes. My face will be a bit of a giveaway. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? It's I started an F1 podcast with Brian, not a basketball one.
Oh, I know. Oh, that was a fun episode. I really enjoyed chatting with Casey. Yeah, the videos were good. The news, sad about Biscuit, but for the off season, that's a quality episode. That's enjoy it or your money back.
Next week could be a little bit of chaos. I will be on a road trip up to Chicago on Thursday, Friday, off up to see my son and take him to the Foo Fighters at Soldier Field on Saturday night, and then fly back to Connecticut Sunday night, which means probably going to have to bring my laptop with me. We'll try and work out how we're going to record. I think I might even be seeing your ugly mug in person on Friday night, so
You'll be
maybe
seeing me in
we
face.
could in face, yeah. We'll work out somehow of us recording in person in a hotel. I don't know. Something will happen and it will be epic.
I look forward to it. I hope everybody has an epic week ahead of them. Be well, be safe, everyone. We'll talk to you in 1 week's time. Enjoy the off season. Summer break, not off season.
Summer break, yeah. Never mind. No one's listening now anyway. You'll be fine.